Welcome back. A stunning victory in Texas. Texas AG Ken Paxton beat incumbent Senator John Cornyn last night in the state's GOP primary runoff, marking another successful endorsement from President Trump. This year's primary election has seen the president triumphing in his choices, including 9 Senate candidates and 101 House candidates and 8 gubernatorial candidates. Ken Paxton wasted no time in directing his attention to his far-left Democrat opponent, James Tallarico. Watch.
My opponent is the most extreme radical the Democrats have ever nominated. James Tallarico is a threat to everything we hold dear in this state and in this country. He's a threat to our security and our safety. He wants open borders. He's a threat to our children. He wants boys and girls sports. Gender mutilation surgery performed on kids. He's a threat to our very way of life and our values.
Joining me now is Minnesota Congressman. He is the House Majority Whip, Tom Emmer. Congressman, great to see you.
Good to see you.
Thank you so much for being here. So what's your reaction to what went down in Texas last night?
Well, congratulations to the future senator from Texas. My reaction is the president's endorsement matters, Maria. We've been saying this forever, and you said that he beat his opponent in the primary. No, it was over 60%. It was huge.
Yeah,
and,
it was huge.
This has been consistent all the way through, and people should pay attention to it. It's why I say these polls that tell you about the president's approval rating right now, totally different from what people actually think. When he speaks, people listen.
I think Senate leadership really was behind John Cornyn. Do you think that the establishment, the Republican machine, is going to be able to get behind Ken Paxton now?
There's no doubt in my mind. I mean, Ken Paxton will be the next senator from the state of Texas. You know, when you lead up to a primary, people have all kinds of arguments they make, like this is a bad candidate, I'm going to be better when we get to the general. In this case, the contrast could not be more clear. Ken Paxton has defied the odds. Every time people count him out, he's going to win again.
All right, we'll be watching that. That was an important test to Texas and the Republicans, certainly. Let me get your take on what you're doing right now. Republicans working to get this immigration funding bill over the finish line. The GOP reconciliation bill, was it derailed last week because of this anti-weaponization fund? President Trump's $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund became a point of contention. The fund is trying to establish a formal process for Americans who say they were targeted through politically motivated actions under the previous administration. An internal memo from the Democrat Congressional Campaign Committee is accusing Republicans of, quote, political malpractice for pushing immigration funding through reconciliation. But, Congressman, I don't know that you had any other choice to fund immigration through appropriations.
No, we didn't. What ended up happening is there was a bipartisan, bicameral deal on the Homeland Security bill, and at the last minute, Chuck Schumer and Democrats in the Senate, because their base hates law enforcement, hates federal and state law enforcement, they pulled out 2 provisions, the ICE provision and the CBP, the Customs and Border Patrol piece, and because of that, now the only way to fund it is through reconciliation.
Right, not appropriation, through reconciliation.
Right, we wouldn't be here but for their hatred of law enforcement. But now the other piece from last week, I mean, think about this for a second, Maria. The senators that are now objecting to this weaponization fund are the same senators that put in a $500 million fund that they could sue the federal government for Arctic frost violations. It's pretty rich for them to suddenly claim we were creating a private cause of action for ourselves in the budget deal last year, which the House ultimately had to come back and take out. Literally, they were creating a fund for themselves because their privacy, because their security, because their persons were violated by the federal government. With the Jack Smith thing. And now here they are complaining that we've got the same thing for Americans. And President Trump has said that's what it's for. We'll learn more from Todd Blanche as we go on, but I think Americans should look at this for what it is. You've got senators who think they are the only ones that are entitled to some type of compensation, but Americans who are being attacked by their government, just ordinary citizens, aren't.
Well, that's incredible. I mean, this Arctic frost investigation, by the way, was so wide. What a wide net they had in terms of surveilling and spying on people and following ordinary people around.
Yeah, but I mean, the intellectual inconsistency, it's okay for the senators to have a claim, but it's not okay for the average American citizen.
That's a great point. I didn't even think about that, but you're right. Meanwhile, Senate Finance Committee Democrats are now calling for a hearing on this fund. They want to know more details on the anti-weaponization fund. Bipartisan House lawmakers also introducing legislation to limit or eliminate it entirely. So what's the problem here?
Well, I think the problem right now is communication and information, right? I just pointed out to you just the total inconsistency with those that have election certificates versus the people that voted for them. Now we're talking about American citizens who have been targeted by their own government having a cause of action. And I think members who are opposing it right now or want more information, it came so sudden. Again, we wouldn't have been here but for what Democrats did to defund police, federal police at the federal level. We're here because that's what they did. This was added at the last minute. Todd Blanche is going to answer some questions. We'll see where it goes. I think it makes sense.
Do you expect the reconciliation bill to fund immigration to be on the president's desk by June?
I do.
So you're going to get this, the Senate will get this done in the next couple of days, you think?
We've gotten to know each other a little bit, Maria. Where I come from as the whip, if you say you're not going to do it, you're not going to do it. It's like the big, beautiful bill last year.
Yes,
we said we were going to get it done by July. We got it done by July. The president wants this by June 1st. God forbid that the senators delay this beyond that date, because the House will get it done.
Now, the last time we spoke about the plans beyond the reconciliation and funding immigration, we talked about Mike Johnson's intention to do a reconciliation 3 before the midterms. But since then, a number of your colleagues have voiced real concern. They say, look, it takes a month just to get it through the Senate. We don't have that kind of time. There's no way we're going to be able to do it before the midterms. Is that still a consideration?
It is. The Speaker is very sincere when he says a reconciliation 3 is something that he wants to see. It's actually 2, because we had to use reconciliation to fund Homeland Security because Democrats wouldn't do it.
Right.
So this second one that he's talking about, it is absolutely in the works. Now, the members that say they have concerns, those are valid concerns, because with each day that passes, we got to have a budget resolution that comes out of the House very soon.
Yes.
If you're going to have any chance of getting this done, because the other thing the leadership in the House has said, any reconciliation bill will be ready to go before the end of July. So you're talking about a ever-narrowing window to get it done.
Yeah, to get it done before the August recess, of course. All right, how are you feeling about the midterms, given all the redistricting fights that have gone on? South Carolina Senate Republicans voted against advancing a new congressional map that would have eliminated the state's only Democrat-favored district. In Alabama, a 3-judge panel blocked a redistricting map that could have also given the GOP a midterm pickup. And then there's Tennessee, Democrats suffering a blow as a federal judge rejected the challenge to temporarily redistrict efforts. Similar situation in Florida. GOP got a win on that one as the judge refused to block the Sunshine State's new map. That gave Republicans a 4-seat advantage. What does this all mean at the end of the day for the midterms?
Well, with the redistricting, there's about a 2-to-1 advantage between Republicans and Democrats. But that's not what I'm looking at, Maria. I'm looking at the fact that the Democrats, it was interesting when you said they have a memo, an internal memo that's saying it's political malpractice for Republicans to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Guess what? They continue to commit political malpractice. They have doubled down on the very policies that they lost on in the last election. They aren't listening to the American public. You're going to see the economy, because this will, as James Carville once famously said, it's always been about the economy, stupid. It's going to be about the economy again. And what Republicans did with Donald Trump's leadership a year ago is causing billions of dollars to be invested in our economy right now. And you're going to see that start to have a real impact towards the end of the summer and early fall. And with that, I like our chances in the midterms.
That's great. And you're moving forward with your work on stablecoin legislation, on digital assets. What can you tell us about that? Do you expect a framework this year?
That's our goal. I mean, I expected it last year. But keep in mind, the Senate did gargantuan work after the Senate Banking Committee literally hadn't done anything in about 6 years. They put out a stablecoin bill called the Genius Act last year that was phenomenal.
Yeah, Bill Hagerty did a lot of work on that.
He did a lot of work, and some others with him. but now we've got the Clarity Act. This is not the first iteration of a market structure bill. This is about the 5th iteration. The House has been doing this for 7 or 8 years. That went over to the Senate last summer. The Senate has had to do some catch-up and learning. They marked it up just last week, and I think you got to have the market structure bill, Maria, because we want that money invested. We want those entrepreneurs, those risk takers coming into our country and being under the supervision of the U.S. government as opposed to setting up shop in the Caribbean or somewhere else.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we want them to be here, and you got to give them the rules of the road. They got to know who they're dealing with. The CFTC, the SEC, the FDIC, the Treasury. Who are they responsible to in terms of regulation? Once those rules are clear, I think our chairman, French Hill from Arkansas, says it best.
Yes.
Having the stablecoin bill without the Clarity bill, the market structure bill, is like having a cell phone without the towers. So yes, the goal is to get it done as soon as possible.
And you've criticized Gary Gensler in the past at the SEC. He was putting rules out on everything around his climate change agenda.
Yeah, he was regulation by enforcement.
Right.
He told you his door was open. You go in, and then he slams you with a lawsuit and starts to go after you.
Wow. Congressman, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Maria.
Covering a lot there. Congressman Tom Emmer.